So 3, 1, extrema on an interval. So what do you think an extrema is?
Min or max.
Min or max. Okay, so an extrema are relative minimums or maximums of a closed interval, aka absolute min or max, or global min or max. All the same words.
Let's just write that down.
That's up to you. You might, no. You might want to put that an extrema is a min or max. Extrema, absolute, global, they're all the same. There is a theorem that says if f is continuous on a closed interval, a to b, then f has both a minimum and maximum on that interval. And I would assume that you knew that relative minimaxes are hills or valleys of a graph on an open interval. If a hill or valley is a sharp peak of the function, if it is sharp or peaked, the function is not differentiable at that relative min-max, and the graph is considered to be discontinuous at that point.
I better write that down.
You better write that one down. That's a big one. Because I have people that always are trying to differentiate an absolute value function. What's wrong with that?
Well, you can, because the hill/valley is sharp and peaked.
Way back in Algebra 2, we talked about what a polynomial was, and it is a nice, smooth curves. And okay, so find the derivative at each relative extrema. Okay, now we need to talk about this. What should the derivative be at a relative extrema?
0.
0, right? So when we're finding this, we should be getting 0. So we probably have to use the quotient rule on this one, huh?
Yeah, I'd say.
Okay, so let's see. I probably should keep going, huh? 927x squared. Minus 27x. 27. Okay, did you get 27x squared minus 27 over x to the 4th?
Hold on a second.
Oh, I thought you were done. I thought I was just being slow. Because you had to use product in the numerator unless you distributed the 9, right? Which I really didn't need to. I don't know why I did that. Oh, well. But you can reduce out an x squared?
Yeah, I was wondering. I did that eventually, just not very.
Okay. So we now have the derivative, so to evaluate it there, I just plug in the x, right? So f prime at 3. So 27 times 9 minus 27 over 81. I got 8/3.
Well, shoot.
I could be wrong. I tried to do some fancy work. No, that was right. I took it, instead of taking 27 times 9 minus 27, I just made that 27 times 8. I got 216 divided by 81. I reduced by 9 and then by 3.
Well, that doesn't equal 0.
That doesn't equal 0, does it? Did you guys get 8/3?
Yep. Is it supposed to equal 0?
Well, if it's a relative extrema, the tangent line should be 0. Anybody got a book open? I think we did our work right. If all 4 of us got the same derivative.
So let's just say that is right. Would that mean that it's not a relative extrema? And then, like, if I got that answer on a paper, would you just leave it as, like, what would that be, like, undefined? Would it be, like, undefined?
No, I mean, if you get something other than 0,
Then it's just not a relative.
it's just not a
But
relative
it's still,
extrema.
like, legit.
Yeah, it's still a point. There's a solution. It's just not what we're saying it is.
Oh.
Because because your extrema should be at 1 and -1.
Alright, so.
Did we get the derivative right?
No.
We didn't?
No. That's it. We didn't take the derivative of the denominator right. And then when we multiply to the top, it didn't translate right, I guess. I'll bring you the book. I think I see what we did wrong. Just don't know how to explain it.
I think it's funny that we all did the same thing.
Well, you were going, so I just skipped ahead to where you were at one point. But let me do it.
Okay, so you take the numerator, which was the 9x. Oh, I didn't multiply it by 3. So this should have been 27.
Yeah. I didn't know how to explain the location of that.
So that should have been 27.
So should we just rewrite the problem?
So then, well, it's from here, it's just our derivative part. Like, it should have been 27 and not 9. So 27 and 18 is 545. Right? Minus. But if I'm going to plug in, wouldn't it be easier to factor out, not put in? So I could factor out a 9. No, I'm just going to go ahead and do it. So 45 x squared minus 681 over, because we took out an x, so x to the 4th. So now if we do 3, 45 times 9 minus 81 over 81.
I don't know.
Still don't think we're gonna get
I
0.
don't think we are either.
Okay. It's one of those days where we just have to do what? Okay, if it is an extrema, we have to get what?
0.
0. So, this 9, do you guys want to make it 9x squared minus 27, or do you want to kick it out?
Let's make it 9x squared minus 20.
Okay, so maybe we won't mess it up. Okay,
I did start over.
so that makes that 18x squared times x cubed. I think that's where I messed up. I don't think I had that x cubed there. I really don't. I could be wrong. Minus 3x squared times 9x squared minus 27.
For the first part, would it
This should just be
just be
18x.
18x? Yeah.
Oh, yes, it should be. Thank you. Oop. I need to make my eraser smaller.
Get rid of everything.
Yeah, just got rid of it all. Over x to the 6th. So then I have 18x to the 4th minus 27x to the 4th plus 81x squared. And I can take out an x squared out of everything. And so it's negative 9 x squared, right?
Not plus 8, but. What? How's it plus 8? How'd that happen?
Oh, it's 81.
Yeah. And factor out 9
So negative 9. So we have x squared minus 9.
X to the 4th. I have faith in this one. Maybe.
They have 9 minus x squared. Oh, because they didn't take out a negative 9. Okay, so now we made that way harder than it needed to be the first time, and I don't know why.
Because you said you were going to do some
I know.
acrobatics.
Well, I did. I did the same thing with the other thing. It was something easy I should have messed up. I messed up. Now, what do I get?
Now.
I get 0 over 81, which is
0.
0. So, I just proved to myself that the derivative at the extrema, when I plug in the x value, I get 0. So, here's my question. Here's my derivative, yes? What if I set that equal to 0? Won't it give me the x value then?
I would think so.
So if I have 0 equals negative 9x squared minus 9 over x to the fourth. And this was what I was doing over here. I was checking my work, and I immediately knew it was wrong. So I'd multiply over by the x to the fourth and still have what? 0. I would divide by the 9, negative 9, and still have what? 0. And so I would have x equals plus or minus 3. We don't know what it looks like over here. It didn't give it to me, did it? But is there another extrema over here?
Yeah.
Probably, yes.
Well, okay.
Well, this is a rational function with an asymptote at 0. A vertical asymptote at 0. Okay, so we will be finding an extrema by setting the first derivative equal to what? 0. Okay, find the derivative at each relative extrema, if possible. What's wrong with this?
It's sharp.
It's a sharp. I just touched it. So, is this possible?
No.
No. So, my limits, if I did this with the limits, would I get two different things happening?
Yeah.
Yep, I'd have a negative slope and a positive slope. Okay. It does not exist at the extrema. Right here. Can't do it. It's not continuous at that extrema. Okay. So, derivative of sine is cosine. So we have f prime of pi over 2. And my pen won't work. The cosine at pi over 2 is what?
0.
0. And I have f prime at 3 pi over 2. So the cosine of 3 pi over 2, which is 270. So y is still, x is still 0.
Excuse me, is now electronics there?
Yes.
I need to have her come to the office when the bell rings.
Okay.
She'll be leaving. Thanks.
Everybody's through school with it.
Okay. So what?
Also gonna stationing?
Okay. So here it is. A critical number.
Cows.
A critical number is the 0 of the first derivative. That is what a critical number is. The zeros of the first derivative. The first one we have here doesn't have one. Why? It's a peak. Well, this one would be considered a peak just because it's curved going to it. But either one, it doesn't exist because it meets at a point. Yes? Okay. The second one, the horizontal line is tangent. So, relative extrema occur only at critical numbers. I think we've already established that. Yes? Relative extrema are only going to happen at critical numbers. And what is a critical number? Where the 0 is first derivative. Oop, I said that so wrong. The zeros of the first derivative. No.
It's gonna ring in the next 10 seconds.
Are you sure?
It's 57.
Okay. Guidelines for finding extrema.
57.
Is that 57 now?
Is the bell not working today? It didn't ring in English.
It didn't ring. But in
It's peak.
End of, what period are we in?
seventh.
Seventh
Okay,
period
so
now.
the steps, guys, are you find the critical numbers. How do I find the critical numbers?
Set it equal to 0. The derivative.
You find the derivative and set it equal to 0. Evaluate each critical value to find the B, the endpoints. And we'll go through this more, but work on your assignment and we'll answer questions and finish this up as needed. Okay?
I'll be gone more on Wednesday.